learn how to play. I know it was today, but what time today? Well, why don't you try rehearsing it on your own? Ern, that's a very good idea.
I've seen enough, thank you.
Cut.
Very good, well done.
In 2010, an idea I'd had for a very long time to make a drama about the early days of Morecambe and Wise finally happened. Sadie Bartholomew's Eric's mother. She seems to have been very much a driving force in his life. And I think she saw that he had a real talent, certainly for singing and dancing and for being funny.
It started when they were little kids and flogged it around for decades before they made it.
It was a story that not many people knew about, but what became very clear once we'd started was the huge affection still out there for Eric and Ernie.
The whole country came to a standstill because they had to stay in on a Saturday night to watch Morecambe and Wise.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you, and good night.
I remember my mum saying to me when I watched it as a child, I'd be stony-faced, literally, and then she'd go, "Did you enjoy that?" And I go, "It's the funniest thing ever."
There's no pear drops in there.
There is, look, just there. Hop, hey, ho! Come on, I'll take it.
I'm yet to meet any comedian who has ever said anything negative about their act. In fact, I've never met anyone who doesn't like Morecambe and Wise.
What they went on to achieve was massive, but to fully appreciate the story, we need to go back to the beginning.
Ho-ho!
The boy's a fool.
For my next trick.
As a big Morecambe and Wise fan, I knew that they had got together as boys on the same theatre bill when they were about 13. And I thought, why has nobody ever told that story? Why has nobody ever told the story of when Eric met Ernie? This is the Morecambe Winter Gardens, which is a beautiful theatre designed by Frank Matcham, who designed the London Palladium. Past its glory days now, but in its heyday, this is the sort of theatre where the young Morecambe and Wise would have learnt their job. Variety bills at the time would have had conjurers, comics, acrobats and dancers entertaining audiences twice nightly. It was a tough job, but for the audience it was a chance to escape from their own hard lives.
Vaudeville and variety were the BBC One ITV television of the day. Every single town had quite a few of these theatres. Magnificent hippodromes and palaces and alhambras, and they were the sort of self-made mass entertainment of the industrial working classes.
The extraordinary thing about variety, you could play one night every day of the year round London alone, because there were so many variety theatres.
To me, it was all a mishmash of great fun, and everybody was so good at their art. And it was always the comics that tried to, I remember in my day, tried to steal the show.
Eric and Ernie had both had individual success on variety bills up and down the country, but in 1941 they performed together for the first time as a double act.
Hello! Is everybody all right up there? Yeah! Sorry you've had to wait such a long time. I just want to explain a little bit about what we're doing. We are filming this big drama about Morecambe and Wise. Eric and Ernie met when they were about 12 or 13, and they were on stage together for the first time when they were about 15. And we've got our two boys here who are going to do a little bit of that act.
I used to run across the stage and slap very hard across the face. It's like, swoom, like that, really hard, you know. Say, how dare you have the kind of face I dislike, and run off.
Yeah. Now, the idea of that was to get an impact with the audience, you see, because we'd be second spot. They'd only just opened their eyes in the theatre.
And only just opened the theatre.
Yeah. And this was to make them all jump, you know.
Can you lend me £2? Will do. Right now, you owe me one. I don't understand.
The very first time I saw Eric and Ernie was at the Liverpool Empire, and they were awful. They were painful. In fact, they were so far down the bill, I thought they were the Princes.
Now you owe me £2, thank you.
I would have seen Morecambe and Wise on variety bills when I was a kid.
We've cut it there, thank you. Well done, boys.
I don't remember them from the point of view of, wow, weren't they fantastic? But they cut their teeth on the variety theatres, and it was about survival. You know, you had to get on, do your act, and get applause to get off. And that's a very hard school.
Growing up surrounded by musical turns, they would naturally soak up the skills and technique of more experienced acts, but they particularly idolised those who made it to the silver screen.
They were great film buffs because when you were travelling around, you had your afternoons free, so I think Eric and Ernie, they spent most of their youth in the cinema until it was time then to go on to the theatre.
The influences on Eric and Ernie are very obvious ones over many decades, and it started with Abbott and Costello.
Have you got 2 10s for a 5? Just so happen to have it. That's it now. And Elizabeth, I like her. She's a regular scalp, that's why. That's a woman that knows her stuff. Now let's see, the baggage room is where? The baggage room is around here somewhere. Look, you know where it is? Just a minute. Right, what's wrong? Just a minute. $15 went south.
Ernie once told me that they used to do their crosstalk as teenagers on stage.
1 for you, 1 for me, 2 for you. 2. How old are you?
36.
36, 37, 38.
Oh, do me a favour. You're not going to do that old Abbott and Costello routine, are you?
Oh, what?
36, 30. Good Lord. Anyway, I'm 43.
Oh, 44.
It always struck me that there was a touch of the Groucho Marx about them. You know, they sort of look to the side. There's definitely a bit of Groucho in Eric Morecambe, I'd say.
I'd seen Groucho in a film called Horse Feathers.
I soon dispose of all of those who put me on the pen.
And at one point, he did a silly dance.
My man.
And I did it round the rehearsal room because it was just Eric and Ernie there, nobody else.
We'll sing the old-fashioned song now, shall we?
All right, let's sing the song.
And they collapsed on the floor, you know, when I did this.
Bring me sunshine in your smile.
And they did it after Bring Me Sunshine, and it became a trademark.
Clearly, in the pantheon of great double acts, they must have looked at Laurel and Hardy.
You deserve everything you flaming well get.
I know that Eric Morecambe only agreed to doing the In the Bed sketches because Laurel and Hardy done them.
I said, no, we can't do it. I said, OK, I'll just say this and I won't say anything else. If it's good enough for Laurel and Hardy, it's good enough for you. And Eric said, we do it.
It's anybody's place. Do you mind if I...
No.
Eric Morecambe.
Anyway.
How are you? Thanks for inviting me into your bed.
Yeah. And he also quite openly talks about being very influenced by the looks to camera, you know, that Oliver Hardy used to do.
It makes you feel 15 years younger.
And you feel 15 years younger?
Yes, Dad.
It was that wonderful thing of including you.
Honestly? My word as a gentleman.
There you are, sitting in your sitting room, wherever you are, watching the television, but Eric is actually talking to you.
I just thought that was just so funny, the way he used it, and just staring down the lens at you for a very long time, smiling. It's funny, isn't it? And you just thought you were my friend.
He gets slower as he gets older, you know. All of his problems.
Who are you talking to?
Nobody.
They didn't do many sort of quick sketches. Quickies, as they call them in the business. See, that required a down the lens, because I said quickie.
The camera's over there.
Oh, is it?
Eric had many influences on his comedy, but the person who had the most influence on his career was his mother, Sadie Bartholomew, the part I play, the driving force. Sadie, I think she knew that it would never suit him to have an ordinary run-of-the-mill job and to stay in Morecambe. I think she was very far-sighted because obviously it was borne out by events. She did exactly the right thing.